All right, good morning and welcome to today's stock market update for Friday, December 17th. And stocks continue their sell-off after the Fed meeting. And tech stocks are hit the worst. Apple, Adobe, AMD, NVDA are all crashing hard. So we'll talk about this. There's more bad news for Robinhood. We'll take a look at Robinhood. Also, what's next for Airbnb. Rivian and FedEx reported earnings, and we'll show you what happened and much, much more. Now, if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Marcus Hartkotter. I'm a professional trader, and every morning we sift through a mountain of news websites, newsletters, and reports, and then we take the most important news and go live here to share with you what you need to know as you head into your trading day. If this is your first time here, I know it can be overwhelming, so don't worry, we have a special video just for you, and I'll link to it in the description. That's a great place to get started. Joining me is my head coach, Mark Hodge, who has 24 years of trading experience. And together we have helped thousands of regular people understand how to trade these crazy markets and actually make money, way beyond what your typical financial advisor would do. So here is what has been happening yesterday, Mark. Let's take a look at this. I mean, I've brought up the S&P 500. The S&P 500 kind of hanging in there, but quite an interesting day.
Interesting to say the least, Marcus. This was the type of move that I expected with the Fed statement, right? And it's these crazy bipolar markets. I mean, you have this sell-off going into the Fed. The Fed, I don't think there were really any surprises there. That could be why there was a bit of a rally, but then to sell off the next day is weird, right? Anyway, the S&P down 0.9%, but the NASDAQ, Marcus, the NASDAQ.
I know.
Down 2.47%, its worst day since September, with investors continuing to digest the Fed news. Of course, rising inflation and the spread of the Omicron variant is affecting the markets, but we know that higher interest rates to combat inflation is going to hurt high growth tech names. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, because we see the rotation going on right now. In the Dow, I mean, look at the Dow. The Dow actually yesterday pretty much changed finished unchanged. I mean, down 0.08%, nothing. But as you said, the NASDAQ got hit hard. I want to bring up the 50-day moving average because there's one that traders pay attention to. And if you're looking at these two indices, I mean, the Dow has been dipping below it, but has found some support here right now. The S&P 500 has found some support at the 50-day moving average, but the NASDAQ, boom, went right through like a hot knife through butter and moving lower here right now. And I mean, it was mainly the tech stocks that got hit hard. So, I mean, this is where we see even the big names, familiar names like Apple. I mean, Apple yesterday down almost 4%. This morning, down another 1%. Who else did we have? AMD, right?
NVIDIA.
AMD here, down 5.3%. This morning, again, down 1.5%. NVDA. So, I mean, even the big names here are getting hit hard.
And on the flip
let's go back to the NASDAQ. And let's just zoom out here for a little bit and take a little bit a look at a bigger picture. I mean, everybody right now is like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Is the market crashing? Is this what we are seeing here? But if you measure it, I mean, from the previously established high, we are right now down, like 7%? That's not even a correction. I mean, a correction is defined as 10%. And this is what we saw. I believe we saw this a little bit earlier in September. Let's see if we went down the 10%. No, not even there. 8%. I mean, so we haven't had a correction, even in the NASDAQ, that is more volatile here in quite a while if you're zooming out here on a weekly chart.
You're right. And, I think that COVID is something to watch in the Omicron variant. And even in New York City, the positive infection rate is doubled in just a couple of days. But this move here is really all about inflation and the Fed. It's just interesting that it was the day after, right? Because even look at bank stocks, Marcus. I mean, pull up Bank of America.
Yeah.
BAC is the ticker, right? Bank of America was up 2.4%. You could look at Wells Fargo. WFC,
Oh,
right?
yep. There we
Up
go.
2.8%. So yesterday was clearly banks benefiting from possible higher interest rates and tech stocks sinking because of higher interest rates.
Yeah, that's the rotation that we typically see. So, I mean, the key question is, where do we go from here? What do you
Yeah.
think? Will we have a Santa Claus rally, or is this something where right now markets are crashing into the end of the year, something similar that we had in December 2018? Remember that?
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I do believe Santa's coming to town. I also felt, I mean, I mentioned it, that I expected a lot of volatility this week, and the Fed had to come out and they had to say, yes, we're willing to raise rates. And I think they managed that well. I just expected a drop after the statement, maybe a little follow through heading into the week. So the back and forth is always just kind of what's really going on here. But I do think we'll see some stability and get a Santa Claus rally.
Yeah, because even if you look at the VIX, I mean, the VIX is really not responding here, and the VIX is the fear gauge, right? Where we see, okay, how much fear do we have? And it recently spiked when we had the news about the Omicron variant. But I mean, ever since then, I mean, the VIX has been staying right around the 20 mark. I mean, it's not really spiking above 30, so it just shows that there is not as much panic in there as some people think or might make you believe, where they say the sky is falling and now the market
Sure.
is crashing. I mean, right now, this is, as you said, Mark, this, what we saw yesterday, is kind of a normal reaction to what the Fed said on Wednesday. We talked about it.
Yeah.
The Wednesday move was like, what the heck is going on? So, I mean, going into the open here, we see that the selling continues. So the Nasdaq is down almost 1%. The E-mini S&P is down 0.7%. The Dow is hanging in there again with 0.5%. But we are definitely heading into a lower opening here.
We are. We are. And tech's still leading the way lower.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about a few individual stocks that are on the move. And one of them moving in the wrong direction again is Robinhood. I mean, Robinhood has been struggling ever since it had its IPO. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, so they fell after Bank of America initiated coverage of the stock with an underperform rating. The Wall Street firm said the perfect storm from the pandemic is over for Robinhood, and it's estimated that the broker's organic growth and trading activity could face a multi-year headwind as client engagement fades. Bottom line, putting that into real speak, they don't believe that the customers are going to still, be drawn to Robinhood. And I think that this is like the biggest concern of, being such a market mover where they changed the whole brokerage industry, but they didn't get rid of any brokers, right?
Yeah.
They just changed the whole industry. And now at this point, I think the Robinhood, fad is over. So it is going to be harder to attract more customers because I think if anything, people are leaving as they get more experience and moving on to a broker that might be a little more established and experienced.
Yeah, and I just looked at it. I mean, from the high that was established to where we are right now, that's down 80%. 80%. I
Wow.
mean, that's ouch. Okay. Now another one, Airbnb. I mean, Airbnb also yesterday down, and this is a stock. I mean, this one here really, really surprised me because they went public last year in the middle of the pandemic, basically, and they have been very, very volatile between 120 and 220. And yesterday, yeah, down 7%, and this morning down another 2.5%.
Sliding and taking out those recent lows. This one might have a little more downside before it starts to turn back higher again.
Yeah. All right. Now, another IPO that we had recently is Rivian, RIVN. I mean, Rivian was flying high, and everybody said, hey, that's good. And yesterday, they reported earnings for the first time after they went public. And it didn't go well because yesterday they were already down 5%. This morning in pre market trading, down another 10%, now below their opening price on their IPO day.
And this is the paradox of the EV maker, where you have interest but you can't make vehicles, right? And so they said that their reservations for their electric pickup and SUV increased 28%, and they announced plans to build a new vehicle assembly plant in Georgia. But they said that it expects the production, 2021 production, expects to fall a few hundred vehicles short. That
Now,
means
a
that
few
they're
hundred vehicles, if Tesla would say this, it wouldn't matter, right? But I mean,
yeah,
here, Rivian was planning for 1,200 vehicles. So if you're a few hundred short out of 1,200, that's pretty significant.
yeah, it could be 20% short. It could actually be 50% short. They said, well, we said a few hundred, they could only be producing half of what they expected. And I mean, that's a big problem, right? And, Musk has said it all along, it's one thing to, basically have a startup, but it's another to produce vehicles and actually get them out there.
Yeah. Now, talking about Musk, Tesla, he is still selling shares. And I mean, ever since he started selling shares, Tesla has been struggling. And I mean, we talked about, we thought that the 1,000 level would hold here as support, but now trading well below 1,000. Yesterday, getting hit hard with the whole tech sell off, down 5%, but also in pre market trading, down another 1.7%.
I This drop below a thousand and staying below there. Yeah, this one, I like Tesla. I like Tesla, but I could see a little more downside before this pops back higher, because I'm just looking at that chart. The 1,000 did not hold, and it seemed like, sometimes you have these round number supports, whether or not there's any rationale to it. Traders see that as a level, whether it's $100 a share, $1,000 a share, $10 a share, and that 1,000 level seems to be the line in the sand.
Yeah, I mean, I also brought up the FinWiz map here, where we see that Tesla year to date, I mean, they're still up 31%. So
Yeah,
that's pretty healthy here. What's
sure,
going on?
sure.
All right, we had a few more companies reporting earnings.
FedEx is one.
All right, let's bring up FDX, FedEx here, and wow, huge jump, up 6.4%.
Yeah, nice move after they beat earnings estimates for the last quarter. They reported an adjusted $4.83 a share, which was better than the $4.28 expected. They said that higher shipping rates have actually helped them to make up for some of their increased expenses. So
There you
that's
go.
a win for them.
Seems that they're dealing well with the inflation. All right, who else do we have?
I saw Winnebago, WGO.
WGO, Winnebago.
So the RV maker up about 4.5% pre-market after a pretty big earnings win. They earned $3.51 a share, and this is compared to an estimate of $2.26 a share. Revenue also came in higher, so nice win for them.
Yeah, let's actually take a look at Thor Industries, one of their competitors. Okay, very similar chart here. So they obviously were a big pandemic winner since nobody could travel. This is where people discovered RVing again, and this is where Winnebago, WGL, and Thor actually soared during the pandemic. And right now, they're still hanging in there. They're still hanging in there.
There's also Darden Restaurants, DRI is the ticker. And so this is the parent company of Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, and some other restaurants. And they beat estimates by 5 cents a share. Revenue was also better. Same store sales jumped 34.4%, which was better than the 32.6 estimate. Their CEO did announce that he will be retiring in May of 2022. So an earnings win for them, but down 4.7%. I'm not sure if that's because of the CEO
I
retiring.
believe so. I mean, this where traders don't like uncertainty. We talked about this
Yeah.
over and over again. I mean, uncertainty is not good. So, who will be the next CEO? What vision will he have? Where will he take the direction? Will other people resign if the CEO resigns? So, I mean, there's what changes will we see in the leadership team? I mean, that's what we saw when Jack Dorsey the CEO of Twitter resigned and announced the next guy who becomes the CEO. I mean, it only took him a week to reshuffle the whole leadership team. And this is where he's saying like, okay, let's see what happens there.
True.
All right. Now, one more thing that is happening this weekend, super important. Spider-Man is opening up at the box office. No Way Home, and set to dominate the domestic box office, nab the highest opening of the pandemic. So it's opening today in theaters near you. What do you think? Are you going to watch it?
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, that's not very enthusiastic. The kids and we're big Marvel fans. So, I mean, we'll definitely watch it. Probably not on opening weekend because this is kind of crazy, but over the next couple of weeks, we'll definitely watch it. It has been on our list for quite a while. All right. We got to get ready to trade these crazy markets. And there's a lot to trade. If you would like to know how we trade these markets, we'll leave a couple of videos right here. And if you enjoyed this market update and you would like to see more of these videos, subscribe to this channel. This way you get a notification whenever we go live.
Happy trading, everybody.